So good afternoon, everybody. I just want to thank everybody for staying back. It's late in the afternoon. We had a 2-day event, and Yemi saying that I appear in your dreams because of work. It's not the cutest, but I appreciate. So my name is Bokle Banya Jr. I am Cameroonian, very proud to be, but most importantly, I am the co-director of the Oxford Africa Business Forum. And sitting at the back, as you can see, the beautiful faces there at the back, and they look tired, but they smile. And they are... And they are the force behind this forum. I was sitting in the back there and I was just reflecting on how it can be very difficult to be an organizer of an event because you really don't enjoy it, But at the same time, it's about seeing people smile and enjoy the sessions because our enjoyment is by seeing people enjoy the sessions. And sitting back there, I was just reflecting on the high-level discussions and engagement what we have had. The number of people who have come from far and near. I know some people came from France and other European countries. People came from other places in the UK, and this is just far beyond Oxford. And it just took me back to 29th of September 2023, where we had our first Alliance Committee meeting. And we set 3 goals for ourselves for the forum. The first one was to deliver a forum that brought people from across the United Kingdom, across Europe, and from the rest of the world. The second one was to have speakers who represent the rich diversity that the African continent has and the diverse expertise that's actually currently impacting the continent. The third one is to have a forum that creates a cascading effect in relationship building. At the time, we did not know what it means to fulfill that. Neither do we know whether we actually were prepared to achieve that. But one thing I remember, was a quote I used to see every time I walked into the library at the African Leadership Academy, which I am a proud alum of. And the quote is from Margaret Mead, and it says, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful and committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that is possible." That quote was actually the anchor for the organizing team throughout the forum. Now, it doesn't mean that we didn't have disagreements. It doesn't mean that we didn't have, arguments about what to do, which speaker, how to move the different pieces. We had our tough times, but most importantly, we had our hard times. There were times where we didn't sleep much, but there also were times where we find strength from each other whenever we planned this forum. In planning this forum, there is a lot of thought that went into it because we wanted to highlight different facets of the theme. And the theme this year is Business as a Force for Nation Building. I want to really credit the previous Alliance Committee leadership, for actually selecting the team. Can you just give a round of applause for them? They selected a team, but we had the responsibility to bring that theme to life. And one of the things we actually decided was to think about the role of women in nation building on the continent. I think the first thing that we actually thought about is we know very well that women have been instrumental from the beginning when it comes to change on socio-political to economic level on the African continent. And that's why we're strategic in selecting March 8th and 9th for the forum, where we celebrated women on March 8th in terms of the impact they have had, what do we think about inclusion, and also what do we think about women leaders, and how are they been navigating the challenges of doing business on the continent. I think we can talk about statistics all the time, but the thought about not only supporting and investing in women on different levels is not just a conversation, it should be a lifestyle. I think it's important that we have to think about this beyond just conferences and forums, but in terms of how we handle things on a day-to-day basis. And now, secondly, we also thought about how do you actually bring out different components from the media to government, to actually music, and the different things that bring out the African narrative and the different things that actually bring out our African heritage. And this forum was actually the opportunity to actually put all of those into that one package. Now, I will not say we have changed the world by this forum. I think it'd be too crazy to say that. But I know that we have triggered something in people that will be that when they will leave this place, it's through the relationships that they have formed in this place, through the insights that they got through the sessions. Because these sessions are here to trigger a thought. We hope that we can have somebody who will build, a video infrastructure platform. And it's very important to think about those different things, in our different communities. Africa is not just about one region. It's about bringing together the beauty of the different regions and putting it together to actually take Africa to the rest of the world, and for the rest of the world to know that we as Africans, we control, own, and promote our own narrative. As I reflect on the goals of the forum, I really just want to thank our sponsors, for the amazing work they have done to make this forum happen. I want to, sponsors, please. I want to thank BCG. I want to thank Vesti. I want to thank the Schwarzman Scholars Program, of which I'm also a scholar of. I also want to thank the Dr. Paddy Foundation. I think Dr. Paddy is in the room. And we also want to thank the gift bag sponsors. I think this year we decided to do something very new. How do we highlight, local businesses on the African continent at the forum? So some of your gift bags, you saw snack bars, and you have that from Local Village. We had chocolates from Local Village is a business in South Africa. You will have Mansa Gold and Gold Coast Roasters from Ghana, and we have My Accelerator for the bracelets you saw that from Burundi. And that is what the forum is all about, and what we should be all about bringing together the best of Africa to the rest of the world. And last year, most importantly, I also want to thank the Said Business School. I know the statistics has been shown out there that we have 11% of our class population are Africans. But I want you to understand that this is not just about the numbers. It's about having a community that can drive change and have an impact in a place which has deep institutional structure like Oxford. And you can see the forum has been a testament of what we could do as a cohort. Most importantly, we have more than 50% of the African cohort as women. I can tell you I have 2 female co-directors, and we have a co-chair that's female, and those women are very fearless. But at the same time, even in the planning committee, we have amazing women that have actually have influence and that have been able to contribute immensely to the forum. I think lastly, I just want to thank the working groups. There are so many working groups and so many people wear different hats in this forum. I want to thank the speaking engagement team, the session curators, social media and comms, give backs, career fair group, partnership and sponsorship, and guest management. And most importantly, I want to thank, the school staff that's actually been behind this. I actually want to thank Tammy. I'll tell you a very quick story. It was like 10 p.m. I was in my room, and I get a call. Tammy's in South Africa, and she's like, "Oh, we have to resolve an issue." And you jump on a call. We are troubleshooting. Tammy works round the clock to make this happen every year. I want to thank, there's Chris, the AV team, the production team, there's Amber for speaker registration, all the people who helped with, the launch and everything, the ushers. I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank the Said Business School. I believe it's a place to be. It's a home for we students of Africans. And most importantly, I want to just thank everybody for being here. We can bring together speakers, but if you don't come, if you don't engage, if you don't participate, you'll just be a show. So we are immensely grateful, and on behalf of the Lands Committee, on behalf of the co-chairs and co-directors, I want to thank everybody. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. You get to see a little more of me before you leave. I think, so we've had a lot of really amazing sessions. We expect everyone here is going to be great. And one very important thing is just like paying it forward. So when you get to places, like make sure you support other people so they can come up. We have one more person we'd invite up who's an executive in residence at the Side Business School. I don't even want to read her profile because I'm sure you all know who she is. Do I need to call her name or do I? Yeah, I need to. So I'd like to call forward Mrs. Aruma Ote. Please give her a round of applause.
Well done. I'm so emotional. And so I'll just speak from the heart. It's been a special 2 days. And what I wanted to do, and I actually asked if I could speak at the end, because I really just wanted to share some reflections on the vast wisdom that's been shared over the last 2 days. But I'm so emotional, so I'll just kind of just say it, as I feel it. So I have always, and I've often spoken about it, that if we want to take this world out of the doldrums as to where it is, that you need 2 key things: women and Africa. And this last 2 days, I'm absolutely certain that that is the case. And for me, and I don't know if there's anybody who doesn't agree. Okay, everybody agrees. Yes, thank you. And when I think about what the students have curated, what the school has supported, I can't help but start from Baba Madiba, because this is the Nelson Mandela Theatre. And when Kennedy was doing the interview earlier today, and he mentioned one of my favorite quotes from President Nelson Mandela, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. It reminded me of one example of why the Side Business School is unique. This theater was opened, I think, in 2002 and named after Madiba. When I think about the theme, and by the way, I thought it was the current students that chose it, but it shows the continuity of this, of business as a force for nation building. The entire world is struggling with this issue, and we have nuggets of wisdom in the last 2 days from that. Of course, when you choose the 8th of March and the 9th of March, you're celebrating women. And this time, I've watched the event over the last few years that I've been here. But this time, there was just something that brought that synergy between those 2 powerhouses. To the speakers, wow. The choices, I just kept thinking, oh my God, this person is amazing, this person is amazing, this person is amazing, this person is amazing. But what I think brings all the speakers together is just the wealth of experience, the real life examples about success, about challenges, the love for the continent of Africa. I remember last night at the gala when Honorable Gladys Boss just outlined how Africa can teach the world about human rights, women's rights, economic empowerment. And it's not natural for us to think that way because the world thinks all the time that it needs to teach Africa. The High Commissioner, Scott, said Africa is the future. I'll just add Africa is the now, is the future, and you better get on the bandwagon. And Ambassador Edward Boateng helped us better understand the Chinese experience because everyone kind of, is looking for the enemy. And he helped us with the rich experience that he has in the private sector and the public sector to understand that. Tunde Kara, is like, I'm humbled by receiving $30 million. It's not me, it's, Vendees. But he said something. He said, if you build an irresistible business, money will come. This last panel, the local rhythms, global charts, is present in my mind. Jocelyn started by telling us, I think sub-Saharan Africa, you said 34% growth, and then Afrobeats, 500%. I mean, that makes business sense. I mean, why wouldn't you be there, Jimmy and Wale gave the example of Copanda Capital, and Bobby Pittman and I are friends, but there were two women behind him, Queen and Linda as well. But I think it was one of you that talked about, women being there. And Edith Effiong, said one of the recipes for success is hire women, and he actually had a picture to illustrate that. Kapi talked about the importance of going beyond being a creator, but also being entrepreneurial. And Jimmy said to us, don't be a spectator. And I hope that will resonate with us every day after these 2 days. I really want to just then ask all of you, the non-speakers, to just join me in applauding the speakers, and some of them are in the room. Thank you. I know that Beauclair had talked about the uniqueness of Side Business School, and our dean started with a very passionate perspective, both about Oxford and about Side Business School. And I do want to confess that I've been here 5 years. And the reason I've been here 5 years is those things that Beauclair and our dean talked about. But more specifically, I'm at a stage in my life where I can make choices. So I do want to be somewhere where Africa is respected, where Africa is understood. And where people understand that Africa is not where you go give handouts. It's where you go learn about innovation, about where society could be in the future. And this last 2 days also reflected that. I mean, the nuggets of wisdom from all the panelists, for me, is an amazing takeaway. And I am just so excited because I have a dean, I have a deputy dean, and I have colleagues who really are committed to Africa. I see Tom Childs, who I've worked with over the last 5 years. I mean, just the commitment from everybody inside business school to the continent of Africa is unparalleled. And I did go to another business school 34 years ago, and they don't have the same commitment. And it's a really fine business school, though. Yeah. But as Beauclair said, this event wouldn't be possible without, I think there were 600 people online, is what I was told, and without those of you in the room. So I do want another applause to everybody in this room. Thank you. And I know everybody has acknowledged Tammy, But I need to acknowledge Tammy myself because I've been on the journey with her for the last 5 years. I know no one who is as tenacious, as caring, as passionate, and committed to the African continent. And Tammy is Zimbabwean, South African, but I think she's Nigerian as well because those are the things that we have. And I know the Kenyans will claim her as well. And she and other colleagues travel to the continent. And I think one of the panelists talked about, I can't remember which one, talked about the importance of being, I think it was Jumoke actually who talked about it. You need to be there locally. You need to understand the people that you're engaging with. So I know that approach, that caring approach, that approach of understanding the continent is extremely important. And everybody knows that Tammy is the Africa Initiatives Manager, and I call her my Africa Queen. And the MBA Director, Amy Major. I know you love your students, and you want the Said Business School, the University of Oxford, to be its best self, and you want these amazing students who come from around the world to be their best selves. And so I just want to celebrate you also for the personal sacrifices, because most people wouldn't be here today, given some of the personal things that you're managing, both you and Tammy, but you've done it all with grace, and you're here with us. So I want to thank you, and I want you all to join me in applauding Amy. And I'd like to call both Tammy and Amy up to the stage because, of course, they don't want me to be the one to acknowledge their students. But since it's me and I get to do what I want to do, I do want you to join me in applauding Beauclerc and all his colleagues. But I know that there's a bigger applause that's coming. And I really want to say, as they're coming up, remember what Beauclerc said. Their objective is not just to have a successful forum, and this forum has been phenomenal by every standard. What they've done is to call you to action so that each one of you will say to yourself from time to time, I did spend my time in Oxford on the 8th of March and 9th of March, 2024. What difference does that make to me? What difference does that make to Africa? What difference does that make to society? Let that be something that continues to ring in your ears on a periodic basis, because we are the solutions to Africa's issues. We are the ones who are going to harness the opportunities. And, I'm so excited about the possibilities, because the world, you listen to the news, poverty, climate change, blah, blah, blah. And of course, if you look at the politics all over the world, and primarily in the US, you kind of say, okay, my God, what's going to happen? But spending these 2 days here has been one of the most important investments that I've made this year. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good evening. Right, I'm going to keep this very short because I know everybody is very keen for some refreshments. But how do you follow Miss Arunma Ote? Arunma, thank you. You made a very good comment. You choose to be with us here at Said. We are incredibly lucky to have you. You are just full of passion and so fierce. Just last year, you worked with us to bring the president of the African Development Bank, Dr. Adesina, to our end of course ceremony. And I think it was the best end of course ceremony that I had experienced in my 8 years at Oxford Said. So thank you. I hasten to say we're in close contact about this year, and Aruma keeps the inbox busy with all of her ideas and suggestions. So watch this space for this coming September if you're a current student. But of course, back to the forum, it's 15 years of the Africa Forum, and I think in a business school that is only 26 years old, in this very old university, I think that's something we can be really proud of. And I arrived to Said coming close to 8 years ago, and met Miss Tammy Brophy here. She was in my interview, and I sat next to her for around 4 years before we entered into COVID. And I have to say, being a white British woman, I would have never put myself in a position of trying to understand the continent of Africa, but everything I have learnt has come from Tammy. We quickly bonded over the fact that my husband was born in Johannesburg and lived there for 4 years, and spent most of that time in Durban. And so I quickly sort of got Tammy on board by bringing in these photo albums of pictures of Durban in the sort of early 80s. And we've been firm friends ever since. She's my definite work wife, and you are amazing. But on to some thank yous. We've had lots of thank yous, but we have to close with some. I'd like to thank all the colleagues at Said Business School, all the various departments that Beauclair has mentioned. Specific thanks to Amber and to Chris. Do they need to come down?
Oh, Tom. No, they can stay.
And also to Tom Madden up the back there, who leads our AV department. The last conference I hosted with Tom was our LATAM forum 2 years ago, and we were translating an address from the President of Ecuador in the closing session. So that hasn't happened today, so Tom's very happy with us. Have you got the clicker?
Yeah.
Moving on to the next slide. Thank you to the co-directors and to the leadership team. Firstly, to Beauclair Mavanya, C. Sandorsu, and Mariah Greenstreet. Please do come to the stage. And I think we also have a very...
Pink doesn't discriminate.
We have a special occasion today. Thank you. Very close to International Women's Day. Co-director Mariah has her birthday today. And I think everybody would like to wish her a very happy birthday.
Yes. Can we all sing happy birthday, please, to Mariah? It's a special request from the students, actually, not me. So, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mariah. Happy birthday to you. Stay on stage.
Moving on to the co-chairs of the Alliance for the year, Echika Obijeku, Kennedy Kiteka, and Tammy Brophy. If you'd like to come to the stage.
You guys want to move down a little and in front of the chairs? Thank you, Sam. I know.
Don't be so well.
Before I move on to the last thanks, I think I'd just like to say I know that the MBA year here passes just so fast. I'm sure you're all, you're sort of about halfway through, most of you who are students in the room, and it does tend to sort of be over in a flash, and then we sort of, we move on to welcoming the next cohort. And every year, I was saying to Princess down here, who's a recent alumna, it just seems to get faster every year. But as much as it is that 1 year, you become part of a everlasting legacy and, very importantly, part of the legacy and the future of the commitment to Africa that the school has. So you should all be very, very proud of yourselves. We know that this is an intense experience where there is just so much on offer for the year and so many things you could be focused on. You know, the chance to take part in something like this and this event and the planning that it takes a lot of dedication. You don't have to do it. You know, it's not paid. You know, to some of the words earlier, events do not come without a lot of stress and a lot of, you know, late nights and worries, but you all pulled it all together. You should be incredibly proud of yourselves. And so with that, I would like to ask all of the students of the working group, hopefully you're all here, to please come to the stage, and we'll have one last congratulations and thank you before we close for drinks.
Thank you, Yemi. I love your pink flowers. For the photo, you can put it on the chairs if you like. For the photo, you can put them on the chairs if you like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a big working group, bro.
Yeah, come through. We're going to do a big group photo.
So please join me in a hip hip hooray. Hip hip hooray.